officially, I guess Danny B he's officially done. I don't know, like, what does that mean? He's been officially done like 5 times at this point. I've never really understood the Danny B infatuation that some dudes have. To me, it's just kind of strange. Like, it's one thing when, like, let's say you have a favorite artist, maybe a favorite YouTuber or something, they create something that you get value from. I fail to see the value in watching another. It's like some type of mental cuck attitude that Dan Bilzerian fans have. They'll defend him till their dying breath on the whole like jealousy thing, and it's like, my guy, it's fine if you want to say that people are jealous of Dan, but like, why are you defending him like that? It's kind of homosexual. I don't know how else to explain it other than, I mean, yeah, that. It's just very strange, this like new breed of man that's like, this guy does all the things that I think I should be doing as a man, but the men that defend him, they don't have the millions of dollars. You know what I mean? They don't have the women around or anything like that. They're just defending the idea of it, which is really pathetic. I don't know how else to explain it. You know what I mean? Go out there and make your own money. You don't need to defend Danny B all day. He'll be all right, I'm sure. I don't know what Danny B's up to. We're about to find out.
Nothing feels better than winning when people are patiently waiting to see you fail. Dan, you've lost 1 million followers in the last 12 months, seen your stock price plummet so low you had to take it off the stock exchange, and now spend the rest of your time copying Andrew Tate.
Yeah, we're gonna start a website called Sigma Society.
While
the Sigma Society, dude. Sigma. I feel like if you genuinely want to call yourself Sigma, it's like when you call yourself Stoic. You know what I mean? You can be stoic, but you kind of just like have to shut up. You know what I mean? That kind of comes with the territory. Like, there's nothing like a man that tries to pretend he's stoic, but then he just like, I don't know, complains about women all day. Like, shouldn't you be stoic? Shouldn't you just not like, shouldn't you just understand that life is pain, but you find purpose in the pain? Isn't that what being stoic is? It's not complaining that women ruined society for, 90% of your waking hours.
Rambling about politics.
Wait, we need to fix our country and our debt before we give billions of dollars to foreigners. And this incessant need to get involved in every war so politicians can siphon off money is even more obnoxious. I somewhat agree with this. This isn't even a bad take. Can we stop getting involved in everyone else's arguments?
On Twitter.
As Americans.
This is basically the definition of failure, and here's exactly how it happened. Dan Bilzerian took his company Ignite public at a price of $2.50 per share back in January 2019, a time in which his career was going perfectly. His Instagram was gaining 400,000 followers per month. He was living in a $65 million mansion.
He was renting it, apparently. That's probably one of the funniest things I found out about Dan is that he was renting his place. Now, don't get me wrong, my hair is fucked today, man. I don't really care. The point is, when I found out he was renting it, and it's like, oh my God, bad with money, Bad with money. How are you gonna not buy property that you own? What do you mean you're renting a place for like $20K a month? I mean, don't get me wrong, props for making $20K a month, for being able to afford 20. He's making more than that in theory, right? Props to being able to afford $20K a month, but like, waste of money.
And most importantly, everybody believed that his lifestyle was real.
You're gonna find out that the ladies were rented too. That's the worst part. The ladies were rented. Those cars are probably rented. He probably rented them shorts, those little tiny little shorts.
That would be until July 2020, 18 months after Ignite started, when Dan fired Ignite's vice president, who then sued Dan Bilzerian for unfair dismissal, in the process completely exposing his phony
You know what? I'm just gonna cut my hair, I'm just gonna shave it all off. It's been too long.
Business model. For starters, the lawsuit explained that Dan Bilzerian hadn't actually paid $65 million for his mansion, but the property was rather rented for $2.4 million per year. On top of this, it was shown that Bilzerian paid for the travel expenses of the rotating cast of models that permanently accompany Bilzerian wherever he goes.
Which, listen, if you're one of those guys who's gonna be like, but still at the end of the day, he was surrounded by women. Sure, they might have been paid for. If you want to be one of those dudes, fine. But defending that, it's like, it's pathetic. It's just like, to defend this dude, to meet ride this man so hard is, and that's the thing, Danny B at the end of the day, he did what he did. He made his money. He lived successfully. It's the people that defend him that I feel sorry for at the end of the day. Because it's like, you are defending a man who would very willingly throw you in, like, he doesn't care about you, and I don't blame him for not caring about you, because he lives a very like materialistic mentality. Like, he has to let everyone know what he has. I'm not a big fan of that because I grew up broke. I don't like anyone to know how much money I have at all. I don't like when I talk to Keemstar, I wouldn't even give him my actual salary. You know what I mean? I don't like anybody to know how much money I make doing the job that I do. Okay, and even if I was a huge YouTuber, you could maybe figure out the math yourself, but I still would not put out any direct numbers out there. That's like something about growing up broke, not letting everyone know what you have. I don't know. I also don't tell people if I donate to charity because you don't need to tell everybody that you donated to charity. You can just do it, and then you can feel good about it. The only person that it affects the people. I don't know. We're a minute into this video. I've been talking for 5 minutes.
By Dan consistently.
You know how I do. Okay, I talk a lot. Why are you even here?
Stating that the girls were there voluntarily.
Do you pay these girls to come?
No. That's okay. So
That's the big misconception,
yeah, I'm
right?
addressing that on my app.
However, the craziest part of the lawsuit outlined Dan's strange expenses, including $75,000 on a paintball field, $40,000 on a rock climbing wall, $60,000 on a Star Wars gun set, $31,000 on pool renovation.
The funny thing about the Star Wars set is like he's trying to be Tate now and hang out with Tate or whatever, but like Tate's original thing in like 2018 or something was he was just like trashing Star Wars. He says anyone that watches Star Wars anything is a loser. And I would just like to let you know that it's not Star Wars that's a problem. You see these little Pokemon Funkos in the background? That's a sign of a real loser, okay?
$50,000 on a bed frame, $15,000 on a ping pong table, and $88,000 on a vault, just to name a few. It was also stated that some business expenses charged to Ignite were for household items, groceries, and luxury yacht rentals, with a different former employee stating Ignite pays for everything. Models, events, yachts. Dan would just have it wrapped with the Ignite logo, and all of a sudden it was an Ignite expense, and he would send them the bill. Pools.
It's amazing how like some of these trust fund baby type dudes always find some way to say, like they always find some way to use something else's money that's not their own. You know what I mean? It's like it's all paid for by Ignite. Where did the Ignite money come from? Oh, from shareholders. Wait, you know what? I'm not even going to question it. It's all a scam.
Trampolines, the employee added. His personal events that had nothing to do with the business. Dan responded by stating, some journalist said Ignite was funding my life. Bitch, I've been going hard for 10 years and been famous for going hard for 7. I started Ignite 2 years ago, raised around 100 mil, and I own the majority of the company, suck my dick. Although his arrogant response failed to dismiss anything, especially the company's atrocious financial reports. Dan had spent
That's such a hilarious amount of money to lose, by the way. That almost feels fake. What do you mean you lost 69 million? 69 million? The taxes on this bill were 420,000.
total of $69 million during Ignite's first year in business, which was offset by only $9.7 million in
What did he even sell? I don't even remember what Ignite was about. Was that supposed to be like a THC Delta edibles or something? I don't
sales.
remember.
Given the previously mentioned lawsuit explained how terribly this money was spent, Ignite's stock price plummeted by almost 90% from $2.50 to a low of 28 cents in October 2020.
I remember it was so funny when this happened because there were some people that clearly didn't like understand stocks or whatever. They were just like, okay, so anyone that bought a stock, they really only lost like a couple dollars out of that. And it's like, no, here's the thing, man. It depends on if they bought thousands or hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of that stock. Now we're talking a little differently. Now we're talking about a little different. It's funny how many people, I've been amazed. I feel like 2020 caused a lot of people to get into the stock market and they just thought like, oh, I'll buy Apple stock. I'll buy one. And then eventually it will be worth enough money to buy a house. And it's like, no, man. Unless you, there's no way it's possible that Apple stock would jump up 1,000 times in value. And even then, still not enough to get a house.
As the media began to report on Dan's losses, he'd respond by stating Uber is worth $80 billion. It has never had a profitable month since it started, and it lost over $5 billion in one quarter last year. However, Ignite's financial losses weren't even the worst part. Ignite only had an audience because of Dan's extravagant life, which as a result of the lawsuit had been...
See, that's true though, because I don't even remember what Ignite was even about, you know? I just know that Danny B just be doing what he does, you know what I mean? Look, he's got the ladies around, he's got the jet.
Exposed as rented. His lifestyle was once mysterious and intriguing, but it lost its edge as soon as people realized it was just another business. On top of this, the whole mega rich guy on Instagram shtick was cool in 2014, but by 2020, everybody knew it was complete baloney, which
yeah, you had to have like the Tate mentality. You couldn't just be a rich dude now. You also had to like say stuff. Like, here's the thing, right? Here's what I'll say about Tate. I've never really been a Tate fan. I don't really like a lot of the mentality. It kind of just seems like a lot of cope. But I will say, hugely entertaining. I've genuinely heard him say, like, there are things that he said that have just made me laugh. Now, maybe I've laughed, like, in the same way that I've laughed at, like, an Always Sunny in Philadelphia episode. You know what I mean? Where it's like, oh, this guy is such an asshole that you kind of just have to laugh at it. And not everyone can do that. Like, I can laugh at that a lot. Like, there's so many things Tate has said where I've just been like, dear God. And I've had to laugh at it. And people be like, why would you laugh at that? It's not funny. It's like, I mean, you can say it's messed up. You know, you can say that it's, I guess, morally wrong to say what, like, some of the things he said, but it was funny. And that's a fault with me. Okay. This is a long, you know, I've discussed this before. That's my sense of humor. That's how I cope.
Began to reflect in Dan's Instagram statistics.
But Dan was just never entertaining to me. Like, it's just like, he's got the women around. The women are the entertainment at that point. You know, he was never saying anything that was funny. He was just like, yeah, I played poker. I made some money. I lied about being in the military.
In May 2020, Dan almost completely stopped posting to Instagram, and by the end of the year, he'd begun to lose followers. In the meantime, the media speculated that he'd soon file for bankruptcy, to which Dan clapped back by tweeting a skeleton with the caption, "Or the dumbass journalist patiently waiting for Ignite to go bankrupt."
I love a classic 2012
Dan was right.
meme.
Ignite wasn't filing for bankruptcy, but that didn't mean that things were going well. After losing $69 million in 2019, Ignite lost a further $19.7 million in 2020, during which the media released another strange detail. Dan Bilzerian's dad was supposedly running Ignite from behind the scenes. Now, this was a problem for one main reason. Paul Bilzerian was a convicted felon who was legally prohibited from participating in publicly traded companies.
I didn't know that.
He spent a year in jail for fraud in the 90s, leading Dan to pretend that they weren't that close.
Where did he get his money? I heard he got his money from his dad. I know he played poker. Yeah, okay. He won $1 million from poker. Maybe. I don't know. Who even knows half of the time what any of these fucking people do half the time? You can just lie about anything. I can tell you right now. Listen, I'm an undercover FBI. I'm a federal agent, actually. I don't know if I can. Is that illegal to say that? Listen, I have to clarify that everything that I say in all my videos is a joke. But also, you know, maybe.
Talk to him probably 4 or 5 times a year.
However, according to one article, Paul Bilzerian has taken a less shadowy role within the company, sending thousands of emails between himself and other top executives at Ignite. This was only speculation at the time, but if Paul was in fact running the company, he was starting to do something right. Despite losing $19.7 million in 2020, Ignite actually recorded a profit in their final quarter, leading Dan to tweet, "Ignite announces a profitable fourth quarter." I guess the press and the dumb YouTubers were wrong, shocking, the reason for which being explained in a Forbes article.
My bad.
For one, Ignite cut costs, slashing a promotional budget by nearly 75%. Pandemics meant fewer parties, and for Ignite that meant a chance at profit. As economic conditions
Basically, what happened is Dan wasn't able to have as many parties and waste money, so they finally had a profitable year. Somebody else was in charge so they could finally make money.
improved in early 2021, the price of Dan's stock began to recover rapidly, quadrupling from 28 cents per share in October 2020 to $1.13 only 1 year later. In the process, Ignite
Not quite the original price, you know? Was it $2.50? Not quite, but we're getting there.
increased its revenue from $16.9 million in 2020 to $78.8 million in 2021.
Mr. Sonny V2, can you please tell me what Ignite does? I feel like maybe he probably did talk about it in some other video, but I don't know what Ignite did. Global Consumer Packaged Goods Company. I don't know, man. I don't know. It's like Amazon.
At which point Dan made the claim that he
Dropshipping?
wanted to sell the company.
$2 billion would be nice, because then I get over $1 billion.
However, the chance of achieving this kind of money began to look unlikely, as the value of Dan's company
Hey, who wants to buy my company for $2 billion? We finally reached a profit. We made 16.9 million. We don't really it's like a drop shipping company. I don't even know.
began
It's a
to
packaged
fall
goods
off the
company.
cliff. The recovery made by Dan in 2021 was completely reversed throughout 2022, owed in part to one particular incident. The SEC is suing Ignite Brands Ltd for failing to produce documents as it
Fraud,
attempts
huh?
to pursue an accounting fraud investigation. According to the SEC case, SEC staff have uncovered information indicating that respondents may have filed public financial statements that include false or misleading representations regarding revenues earned and recognized in the company's fiscal year ending December 1st, 2020. On top
Do you see what I'm saying? You see how you can just kind of lie? You know what I mean? We had a profitable year. You guys upset? It turns out they just lied, I guess. Whoops.
of potentially falsifying their revenue. The suit also revealed that Ignite was under criminal investigation for something unrelated. As a result, the stock was headed toward a new record low. However, Dan was able to fix this problem by removing Ignite from the stock exchange altogether.
Oh, nice,
he
man.
provided no explanation for the company's removal. However, just 2 months later,
it was a marijuana company. So I was right.
Publication MJ Biz Daily somehow managed to interview Dan Bilzerian's dad, who said he is now serving as an unpaid advisor to his son's company and was speaking on behalf of Ignite because Dan was unavailable to comment. He'd state there is no reason to have a public company unless you intend to raise capital from public markets, before going on to state, though Ignite was publicly traded, about 90% of the company's shares are owned by Dan and friends. Dan likely...
Oh, man. I don't know why. This is just so funny to me, man. There's just some, and it's like, it's not even like, I know that there's going to be people like, oh, do you just like to see people fail? No, it's like, I do enjoy when terrible people fail. You know, like when it's obvious that something's a scam and it's really falling apart. That's just a very enjoyable experience for me, genuinely.
Thought that as a public figure, he should have a public company, although this structure provided no real benefit and instead delivered unwanted attention from governing bodies and the media. Despite this, it was reported in March 2023 that Dan was still refusing to cooperate with governing bodies, and while Ignite's privatization means its income is no longer public, it doesn't really seem as though business has improved. Dan recently bragged on Ignite's Instagram by stating, best-selling vapes in South America, although the very top comment was, bro, I love you, but I never seen anyone smoking that. Ignite's Twitter page gets about 30 likes per post. The company's official TikTok page has under 4,000 followers, while Dan Bilzerian's personal social media isn't looking so healthy.
Still 32.8 million. Hold on. Listen, I'm going to just waste a little time here and I'm going to hop on over to Instagram, an app that I rarely use. And I don't know why I rarely use Instagram. I just don't really think about it very often. Dan Bilzerian. Let's see. What's the most recent thing he posted? He got rid of his likes. Okay, no, this one has 2 million, man. That's a good amount of likes. When did this picture pop up? June 22nd? June 22nd of when? This year? But then this is December 2022. He posts like once every few months. Every picture. Okay, let's just see a picture of him hanging out. Okay, yeah. So I'm going to do the science here. I don't really need to show you guys. As it turns out, the pictures of him with women have 1 to 2 million likes. The pictures of just him chilling, not as much. Oh, it looks like he got married at some point. Well, that one got a lot of likes. It's very funny because that demographic of dudes, they really want loyal women, but they love to see Dan with like 40 different women at the same time. It's like they want a nice, modest woman, but they ain't gonna like a modest woman's pictures on Instagram. Are you serious?
Either. His main Instagram page is losing 100,000 followers per month, owed in part to his complete inactivity, only uploading every once in a blue moon.
True.
When he does post, all of the most popular comments state, so sad you have to pay for having ladies around you, haha, lol, such a sad life, and I don't know why I still follow this dude.
The thing is, think of how much money you could be saving if you just weren't paying hoes. You're married now, you know? You don't have to pay these models anymore. You have a wife, man. That's the dream. You know what I mean? When you're young, the dream is like talk to as many women as possible. As you get older, the dream is wife, kids, providing for the family, leaving a legacy. You know what I mean? Making sure your kids have a better life than you did. But he can't do that because he still has to make money by coming across as the dude that just has ladies hang out with him when in reality he pays them. And it is what it is, you know? Some dudes would kill to be in Dan's position right now. You know what I mean? Not really loved by anyone, but he can pay people to pretend to love him.
In January 2021...
I'm sure his wife loves him. You know what I mean? There's no way she would tolerate all that, right? I mean, she probably would, for the money.
Bilzerian was asked, Dan, why are you barely active over Instagram recently? To which he'd respond with, because I just finished the 25th edit of my book. It's fine.
I will read this book, man. I don't want to be, I hate to be the guy that would give you money, but I would for sure love to read this book.
Done. Yet Dan failed to return to Instagram after the book's release. However,
it has a foreword by David Goggins. David, please. Listen, David. Goggins, I love you, man. I think you're insane. I think you're a beast. It is insane what you will put your body through to be the best person you can be. But what's wrong with you, man?
However, only a couple of months ago on the Skinny Confidential podcast, Dan gave an updated explanation for why he'd quit everything.
I just don't care. I feel like social media is like a video game. I beat
his hair's so I know that he got hair transplants and stuff, which, hey, I'm not going to judge, right? My hairline's fucked. I can't be bothered to do the things necessary to fix my hair. We get all kinds. They've got hymns. They've got all this stuff. I just can't be bothered. But he got hair transplants and he's rocking this. I don't know, man. The beard is looking pretty sharp though. I wonder what he looks like without a beard.
8 years ago, and I'm like, everybody's playing the same game. I'm like tired of playing it. Like, I look at social media like a cancer. Like, to me, I think it's the worst thing to be happening to society.
You were part of the problem, dickhead. You want to play into that whole like, I look at it as part of the problem, this materialism. It's your fault.
So I just just cringe to perpetuate that problem.
Dan seems quite resentful over his social media career and is perhaps sick of being hated. However, I can't imagine his next venture will make that any better. After seemingly spending a bit too much time with Andrew Tate, Dan Bilzerian is working on his own alpha male course and
Sigma
website
Society.
called Sigma Society.
The thing I'm working on right now is a site where it's basically gonna like teach guys kind of like
Sigma?
What's that? Yeah.
Sigma?
Yeah, it's gonna like teach guys how to be guys. You know, I feel like this generation has kind of like lost that.
And while
True,
such
we
a
do need
venture
that.
would surely find an audience,
I know me, you know, if I don't have a guy telling me you should work out, you should eat healthy, you should take care of your family, I just get confused, you know, and I start doing like womanly things. You know, I started acting very feminine. I eat a lot of soy. I will tell you this, man. Soy milk has got to be, and I don't mean to, soy milk is god awful, man. Like, first off, I'm not even lactose intolerant, okay? I'm lactose tolerant. I tolerate lactose. So I'm already kind of, you know, like, I'm not really like full. I even tried like the soy chocolate milk, and it's still like, how can y'all mess that up? It's chocolate milk. You know what I mean? The man child in me should love that. And yet here I am, like, I don't understand it. So if anything, you know, you soy boys out there, I'm more confused. Like, are you pretending to like soy milk? Because it's just strange to me. Even like almond milk and like cashew milk, oat milk, I feel like those are all better. Like, oat milk to me is actually pretty good. If I was lactose intolerant, I'd probably drink oat milk for sure. But like, what is the deal with this soy milk? Why is it so gross? Anyways, Danny B, I didn't really learn anything new. I feel like he hasn't been uploading. I don't know. He's gonna do the Sigma Society thing. I'll be joining. I look forward to buying your book if it ever comes. Is it out? Who even knows?